My name is Ronald White, and I'm an alcoholic. Welcome to the Sunday morning, never too early Big Book Workshop on Zoom. For those who care to, please join me in a moment of silence to remind us why we're here, and for the alcoholic or addict who still suffers. Would you please join me in the serenity prayer? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. This is the foreword as it appeared in the first printing of the first edition of the Big Book in 1939. We of Alcoholics Anonymous are more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. To show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book. For them, we hope these pages will prove so convincing that no further authentication will be necessary. We think this account of our experiences will help everyone to better understand the alcoholic. Many do not comprehend that the alcoholic is a very sick person. And besides, we are sure that our way of living has its advantages for all. Now, it is the purpose of this workshop to experience the recovery process is out in the Big Book of Alcohol, either for the first time or again, so we may better carry out and understand our primary purpose, to stay sober and carry the message to the still suffering alcoholic or addict. But now we do this, as the Big Book suggests, as a group, in a 1.5-hour meeting, which includes a 15-minute group conscience. We have a different reader each week whose responsibility is to keep us on track with what is being read. The reader will pause at each paragraph for comments, questions, problems, and experiences with what was just read. We are here to talk about recovery only and go through the 12-step process as outlined in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. This is not an emotional or an intellectual exercise. This is a spiritual exercise so that we all can recover and experience that recovery process as we read it together. Crosstalk is allowed in a loving and supportive manner. Please try to relate your experiences only with your questions or your comments. Could you please repeat after me? Please, God, let us put aside everything we think we know about ourselves, our disease, this process, and you, God, for an open mind and a new experience. Amen.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ralph White. I am an alcoholic. Again, welcome to the Sunday morning, never too early Big Book Workshop. We hope if you are new to us, if this is your first or second meeting, we hope that you will find what we found here and decide to park here every Sunday morning and treat this as a commitment. If you're celebrating a birthday, yearly milestones only, please put that in the chat and we'll be glad to celebrate your birthday. Put the number, your name and the number of years, and we'll be glad to celebrate your birthday with you. A quick reminder, I'm sure most people know, birthdays have already occurred or are occurring today. If it's occurring tomorrow, we'll celebrate with you next week. We are currently in the chapter, The Doctor's Opinion, on page XXVIII, that is Roman numeral 28. In the middle of the page, at the paragraph beginning with, if any feel that as psychiatrist directing a hospital. Reader, take it away.
Good morning. My name is Daryl, and I'm a real alcoholic. Where are we at again, Ralph?
Middle of 28, if any feel that as psychiatrist.
XXVIII. if any feel that as psychiatrists directing a hospital for alcoholics, we appear somewhat sentimental, let them stand with us while on the firing line. See the tragedies, the despairing wives, the little children. Let the solving of these problems become part of their daily work and even of their sleeping moments. And the most cynical will not wonder that we have accepted and encouraged this movement. We feel that after many years of experience, that we have found nothing which has contributed more to the real rehabilitation of these men than the altruistic movement now growing up among them.
Ronald White, alcoholic. Last week, we left off on a paragraph that Dr. Silkworth had talked about. We heard a lot of people sharing examples of the frothy emotional appeal. And we didn't really focus on the second part of that paragraph, which is that the doctor said in nearly all cases, their ideals, not their ideas, but their ideals must be grounded in a power greater than themselves if they are to recreate their lives. Now, upon writing that paragraph, I might have been thinking, is this a doctor or a preacher? Right? Are we really listening to a medical doctor talking about having their ideals grounded in a power greater than themselves if they're to recreate? And it's almost if one might start to scoff at Dr. Silkworth's credentials if they didn't know exactly what he was talking about. That's why this paragraph, I believe, follows up with that paragraph. Because Silkworth knows, okay, anybody who wants to question why I said that thing before, why I said that they have to, have their lives recreated by grounding their ideals in a power, stand in my shoes. He said, come where I see what I've seen over the years of all these years of toiling and seeing lives destroyed and seeing families uprooted and seeing children crying and seeing stand in my shoes and look at that. Say you wouldn't even question why I'm supporting this movement, this unselfish, unpaid for movement, that's altruism, this unselfish movement that has helped more people. We found nothing, he said, that has contributed more to the rehabilitation of these men than this unselfish movement that's now growing up around them. So have the same experience as me, you wouldn't even question why I'm making that kind of mistake.
Doug?
Doug, alcoholic. Yeah, to me, this is the most important paragraph in the doctor's opinion, because in the first letter that he wrote, the shorter one, he was careful not to say this is a spiritual movement, not to say anything like that, anything about the 12 steps. He said, I've seen these people recover. I've been working at this a long time, and you may believe anything they say about themselves. But here, like Ronnie just said, he just said, they've learned that if they want to get sober, their sobriety must be grounded in a power greater than themselves. And I think he caught himself up going, oh shit, doctors are going to be reading this, lawyers are going to be reading this, and he said, just a minute, just a goddamn minute here. If anybody thinks that I'm some kind of religious fanatic with some kind of kumbaya bullshit that I'm spouting here, come down here and see what's going on. I assure you, I am a scientist. I'm a medical doctor. I'm a psychiatrist who spent the last 30 years of my practice treating alcoholics and drug addicts. with a devastating, heartbreaking results of about 95% recidivism. And all of a sudden, 3 years ago, I get this guy coming in here, and he's got some crazy ideas, and I let him practice. And I have seen over 100 alcoholics be restored to their families and careers. And if you don't believe me, come on here. He says, stand on the firing line with me, man, because what you will see, to use scientific terms, the results are observationally corroborable. And to me, that's Dr. Silkworth coming out of his shell saying, get down here and look at it. It's working. Thanks for letting me share.
I'm going to just let that one sit in for a minute. Thank you, Doug. Kelly?
Good morning. Hi, my name is Kelly, and I'm a real alcoholic, just like the reader said as well. I want to preface my share first by saying I lost my husband a week ago. I have 3 small toddlers, ages 3, 2, and 1. We have a baby coming on the way, and newcomers. Where am I at? What am I doing? I'm on the meet and sharing, getting dressed for church at the same time, because you know why? It works if you work it, right? But let me hit these paragraphs. I love how the doctor was talking about, sleepless nights and working so hard, and it kind of takes me back to the previous page, because he's making money to work warily in this field. It takes me back to the previous page when he talks about the unselfishness that we have to have in this program. And that's the altruistic part about it. And then at the end of that paragraph, he's saying they believe in themselves and still more in the power which pulls chronic alcoholics from the gates of death. So what that tells me is, it makes me think about the line in our literature where it says, this is a spiritual program of action, right? So the spiritual part is the unselfishness they're talking about. And no, pardon me, the spiritual part for me is working the steps. The altruistic part for me, that's where that selfishness comes in when I'm helping others. I also wanted to say, like, what they're doing is they're trying to reiterate to you over and over again that this is about connecting to God and helping others. That's why we say, oh, pardon me, I'm all over the place, but I'm trying to get my point across. But I love how at the end of that paragraph, again, it's saying, nothing has contributed more to the rehabilitation of these men than the altruistic movement growing up among them. So again, it's taking you back to why we have to be in service to others. And if you knew, you don't have to wait till you get to your 12 steps to be of service. Service is helping out at meetings and having your commitments, being of service to your family, not doing them wrong and stealing from them and hurting them and having them worry about you again, being at service at your job, showing up, doing exactly what you do, but most importantly, being of service to yourself, working these steps, which is outlined, masterfully detailed in this book. And again, I want to say it works if you work it.
Thank you, Kelly. And you have all of our condolences on the loss of your husband. And thank you for showing up and showing us what to do when we hit those rough spots. Dolly?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Ralph. I love this paragraph also. Just a little factual things to bring about his experience with alcoholics. His first letter, he writes July of 38. And in that first letter, he actually ends it by saying, these men may well have a remedy. May well have a remedy. Not too sure yet. In fact, he won't even sign his name to it. And that's in 38. By the time this book is published, she's asked to say something else, and I love this. Now he sounds pretty convinced, pretty sold. He says, in nearly all cases, he makes a statement right out from his experience. I have been told that Dr. William Silkworth attended to 50,000 alcoholics before his death. This man was full of experience, and he's obviously going to be talking from it. And by the way, by this time, he's signing his name to it. He's signing his name to it. So boy, if that's authentication, huh? This medical doctor knew that he knew by this time in his sentence, if we read it, that no human power. He is a human power. He attended and he loved drunks. He attended medically. He attended every way, everything he had in him. He was a neurologist, broken down. I mean, he wasn't broken down. It was a depression. He didn't have a job, so he'll go work with alcoholics. But I mean, I just had to add that, because he's also building the same case Bill Wilson is gonna build. No human power. Look at me, you guys. I work for 50,000 of you. I'm a good doctor. I'm a neurologist. Maybe 95% of you don't get well. Maybe more. I would assume maybe more. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Well, thank you for giving us that kind of perspective too, Dolly. I like the difference in the first letter, and then as time passed a little more. 50,000 drunk. No more people after Doug. We're going to move off of this. Come on, Karen.
Hi, family. Karen, sober alcoholic. Nice to see everyone. So in the fourth paragraph, where it says, in order for us to recreate our lives, we need to be grounded in a power greater than ourselves. Well, that's the solution. That's our solution. We tried everything else. God could and would if he was sought. And we're all seekers. So in the past, so when this was written, yeah, this is validation. But in 2024, we don't need it, because look how many of us know this. This is our soul. I would have never gotten sober unless I could develop that relationship with a power greater than myself, because I tried playing the power and it didn't get me anywhere. Thanks for allowing my share.
Doug?
Okay, I'm Doug and I'm an alcoholic. One of the most impressive things in this paragraph to me, it's noble for him to say that, and it's very impressive that he says that, but he puts his whole financial career at risk by saying that. He's saying you can pay me or you can join them. He's basically saying we've got nothing, absolutely nothing. And not only is he putting his livelihood at risk, he's putting the whole medical fraternity at risk, financially, because he's saying we got nothing. So for him to be so moved by that he would possibly put himself in jeopardy financially is a pretty powerful statement. Aside from all the spiritual stuff, pure economics shows that there's something going on here that worked and that was noteworthy. That'll pass.
Rita?
Men and women drink essentially because of the effect produced by alcohol. The sensation is so elusive that while they admit it is injurious, they cannot after a time differentiate the true from the false. To them, their alcoholic life seems the only natural one. They are restless, irritable, and discontent, unless they can again experience the same ease and comfort. It comes at once by taking a few drinks which they see others taking with impunity, after they have succumbed to the desire again, as so many do. The phenomenon of craving develops. They pass through the well-known stages of a spree, emerging remorseful with a firm resolution not to drink again. This is repeated over and over unless this person can experience an entire psychic change. There is very little hope of his recovery.
There was one word, Bubba, that I think you misspoke that I just wanted to point out because I think it's a real important word. And that was in the sentence, they are restless, irritable, and discontented unless they can again experience I think you had misspoke and said the same, but I think in there it says the sense, right? The sense of ease and comfort, which comes at once by taking a few drinks. I'm sorry, I shared on the last paragraph because this is my favorite paragraph in the entire book. So I just want to share shortly on it because I know a lot of people are going to want, well, hopefully there'll be some people that want to share on this. I know Ralph is going to get, there's a lot of meat in here. And to me, this encapsulates my whole drinking experience. It talks about why I started, because I like the effect. It talks about the effect being so great, but so tricky, so elusive, so hard to hold on to, that I will start chasing it so much that even when it starts to hurt me, even when it becomes injurious, I can't tell that it's hurting me. I can't tell the truth from a lie, Amanda. I'm saying, no, it's the professors that's doing it. They shouldn't be so demanding and stuff. These, when my grades start to slip because I'm drinking too much. Now my drinking life starts to seem normal, to be walking the streets at all hours of the night and stealing from my mother. That starts to seem normal. And then the key part of the whole thing for me is the doctor says they are restless, irritable, and discontented. And he is not talking about when I'm drinking. He's talking about when I'm not drinking. I am irritable, restless, and discontented unless I can experience, and this is the word, the sense of ease and comfort. Because it ain't even ease and comfort that I'm feeling when I'm drinking, especially not toward the end, especially. It's the sense. In fact, I started feeling it before I even ingested. I would start feeling ease and comfort. When I would make the connection, when I would do whatever, I would start, right? And that's not easy. It's only a sense of ease and comfort. And then the merry-go-round starts. I drink, I succumb, the phenomenon of craving. I'm on the merry-go-round, and then he's got the nerve to say, the well-known stages. The doctor gets just as smart alecky as Bill Wilson. The well-known stages of the spree. And then we know the rest of the story. Right. Thank you.
We're not taking any more hands after Kim. No more hands after Kim, please. I know some people are going to throw them up there, but no more hands after Kim. Gary?
My name is Gary, and I am definitely an addict and an alcoholic. And so very grateful that I'm able to attend this meeting. Once again, work's not in the way. Thank you, Ronald, for leaving a little meat on the bone. You know what I'm saying? Because I read this a few times over the years, right? And it didn't hit me until this last time coming in that this sense of ease and comfort that is so elusive, right? That I'm homeless again, but it's all the fault of the people that keep coming over asking me to buy dope, right? It's not my fault for the fact that I done cashed in my money order, and said I'm gonna pay rent next week, right? And then it's the landlord's fault. She won't give me time, but yet and still I'm not bringing her a money order. And I'm homeless once again, and I'm staying at the dope man's house, being called all manner of derogatory names, but nothing will let me leave, right? Because I'm trying to experience that sense again. And you just broke it off. It's a sense. I'm not bubble guts and all. Bubble guts and all. Farting and pooping and all that, baby. And I'm thinking that I'm enjoying this. I can't differentiate the true from the false. Here's something that just bounced off to me. unless I can experience an entire psychic change. I have to say today, when I used to come around, right, the only time I would get sober is when I was in treatment, right? The only time I show up at meetings is when I'm in treatment or just graduated treatment, and I'm trying again, right? And then all of a sudden I get this wild idea. Let me go visit those people that I used to smoke with so they can see how good I look. I'm setting myself up literally on purpose, and my head, being the kind of brain that I have, this condition that I have, says it's okay, you don't have to smoke, they can, right? And all of a sudden, I'm waking up in a garage overhead, living in a sober, homeless, already, I don't have 2 pots to piss in or a window to throw it out of, but I'm smoking again, right? And the cold part about this condition that I have, it don't point out that to me when I'm going into it. I have to experience it, like he said, over and over and over until something has to happen to me. And it can't happen to me by me. Yeah, grateful for this process. Thank you, guys. I love you guys.
Amanda?
Morning, family. Aloha. Amanda, alcoholic, grateful to be sober and be at this meeting. You know, I'm a chronic relapser, and I had a really hard time understanding this, and my sponsor had me, I'm so grateful for good sponsorship. She had me write I, me, or my above they. And so when I read it, I put myself in there. So the sense that the men and women drink essentially because I like the effects produced by alcohol. So when I read that paragraph, if anybody's struggling with this, I'm hard head, and I didn't want to be here for so many years. So when I read it, when I put myself in that paragraph, it just changed everything because I could see myself in this paragraph. And these are the things that I would do is I would drink over and over again. You know, I drank because I like the effect produced by alcohol. I take pills, I take anything, snort, whatever. Do it because I like the effect. And if I'm going to keep that to that because that if anybody's struggling, man, I tell you, put yourself in that paragraph. And if we relate to it, it'll take on a whole new meaning. And I'll share the time. Thanks.
Thanks, Amanda. Jill?
Hi, you guys. My name is Jill, and I am an alcoholic, and I'm so grateful to be back in this meeting with you. And, you know, I need to take you back in time for a second because it's COVID time right at the very beginning, and I'm 17 years sober, and I'm sitting at that crossroads again. And I listened to this thing. I don't even know where it came from or how it got on my YouTube. And I'm listening to Ralph White at a conference in Texas, I think, or somewhere in the South, with a whole panel of speakers. And they go through all these different speakers, and then Ralph starts talking, and I hear a message. And I hear this message, and I realize I'm sitting at the crossroads one more time. And I have been in and out of Alcoholics Anonymous and around for many years since 1982 with years of sobriety and kept drinking over and over again. It was this paragraph when he talked about going back and understanding this. I went through this and I found this. I drink because I am raw in a normal state without booze or something. It's like everything out in life is like sandpaper on my skin unless I can get that ease and comfort because I don't know how to do life. I haven't had a psychic change. I've been around AA. I've been into some meetings, but I've never worked the steps the way that it's outlined here. And I kept saying, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get this? Is there something for me that I cannot or will not, whatever it is. And I read this and it made sense for the first time. I went back through these steps and I saw this. I drink because that effect of alcohol, it takes away that feeling. My dilemma is once I put that in, the craving starts and now I can't stop. But I keep looking at that guy across the street, and he's able to drink his glass of wine with dinner. I'm looking at adult people in life that are able to do it with no consequence. And so I think I can do it if I just master it this way, this way. And I keep trying over and over and over. And I keep ending up, and each time it gets worse. And I don't know how to get that psychic change. Ralph White, I thank you very much, Ralph. I told you many times, you've sent me on a journey that put me in a way that it has not only changed my life, but all the women that are in my life and the others that come into it. Because I absolutely have believed. And it's a slow process. Let me not jump there. This psychic change goes on for a minute, and then I go boop, and then I have to come back again and go back on my knees, Ronald, and get down there. And I think of us often down on our knees praying that third step prayer. God, please remove from me that thing that blocks me from you. Let me have that psychic change. Thank you so much for allowing me to share. I love you guys.
Joel?
My name is Joel. I'm a real alcoholic. My first 12 years in AA, I was just calling myself Joel. I'm an alcoholic. After I went to Joe and Charlie, and this was explained to me, 12 years later, I didn't read or understand the doctor's opinion until I went to Joe and Charlie, and this was explained to me. And from that point on, I started referring to myself as a real alcoholic. On the top of the page, Joe and Charlie pointed out, that's the definition of the physical part of this disease, the allergic reaction we have to alcohol. That once we take booze of any sort into our body, I am doomed. I am going to take another and another and another until I'm knee-crawling drunk. Explained that to me. I didn't know why I couldn't drink safely for the longest time. And I also then started understanding why they were calling this a disease. I thought it was bullshit until I heard that explanation. The middle part, just to go over it, if any feel the psychiatrist, that part, the doctor's saying he's powerless too. It's like an Al-Anon statement. I'm powerless over you suckers. I can't do anything to help you. And then this part, this is about the mind. The reason why I drink, because I could be stone cold sober before I pick up my first drink. The reason why I drink is because of this mental obsession. This is the mental part of the disease. And that I'm restless, irritable, and discontented. That's just the doctor observing us after he detoxed us. Physically, he can see we're restless, irritable, and discontented. Then Joe and Charlie explain there's also something else going on internally. He couldn't see what we're feeling. We're full of fear, guilt, shame, and remorse because all the crap we've been pulling, being alcoholics. That's the spiritual allergy, the spiritual part of this disease that we have to deal with. So it's physical, mental, and spiritual is explained on these pages. Thanks for letting me share.
Cindy Ann?
Hi, Cindy Ann, alcoholic. So I was sitting here writing notes. I'm a notes kind of person. I have to write everything down that I hear, that I love. And so far, I've tried to write what everyone has said already. And, I know about this sense of ease and comfort. I remember, and they say it's good to remember, just, don't go back there, but it's good to remember. And I looked up the word psychic change, and it says transformation in one's reaction to life, change in personality, and then an acquisition of belief in a higher power. So it's like not even just in AA mentality. They even say, just in a regular dictionary, that it's an acquisition of belief in a higher power. If I don't have that belief, the psychic change may be a little fleeting. I might have to chase that instead of what I've been chasing all along. And I went to a workshop last weekend, and it was going through the steps in 12 hours. And it was based on a lot of Clarence Snyder's work. because that man did so much for alcoholics that I think he's a little under acknowledged. But, you know, this spiritual program, that compulsion, that is the mind. That's enemy territory. I can't go up there and visit very often, right? It's a sick neighborhood up there. So I try to stay where I am grounded in a higher power, in the hands of other alcoholics, because they're just like me. So that's all I got. Thanks.
Reggie? You muted.
Oh, I couldn't unmute myself. Sorry about that. I didn't know that. Okay, Reggie White, alcoholic. And what I always like to do is go back to the part where Ronnie has read that before the meeting, where we talk about the fact that we're trying to put up. What I'm trying to do is have a spiritual experience with this time. And we do the set aside prayer. So what I try to do is take myself back to 1987 in February when I first got in here. And I remember reading this book in February of 1987. And I started at this doctor's opinion. And this is the first part, this paragraph, where it kind of opened my eyes and it started telling me something about what's wrong with me. It started answering that question where I was always saying, what the hell is wrong with me? What am I doing? And I didn't know, because I always thought I had it under control and I had some willpower and I could stop some things. And then it talked about, when I read this where it said, men and women drink because they essentially like the effect produced by alcohol. They didn't say the taste. They didn't say, because I hated the taste of alcohol and I could relate to that. I drank to get fucked up. I drank as fast and hard as I possibly could because I hated the taste of alcohol. The only thing I ever liked the taste of was weed. I loved the taste and smell of that, but everything else I just did get totally fucked up. And I wanted that effect. And they talked about, even though it's injurious, right? And it didn't matter to me. See, because once I start, I don't care about the back end. The back end comes in the back end after I've done everything and I've harmed myself. And so I'm starting to see what's wrong with me. When I started reading this, and when they said that restless, irritable, and discontent, yeah, because every time I did it, I ran out of money. And now all I could think about is, how am I going to do it again? How am I going to get it again? And then they started explaining some things to me, that all I wanted was that sense of ease and comfort about when I could start again. And they talked about what the phenomena of craving really is to me, talking about going through the well-known stages of a spree. And I was like, shit, that's what I've been doing over and over and over again. And like, when I go through this, because this really I didn't know what psychic change meant when I saw that there. I'm like, psychic change? I don't know what that means. And it really ain't important here, because I'm in the doctor's opinion and I'm in the first part of the first step. The only thing about this is the allergy of the body. You know, when I put one in my body, all of a sudden I have no control. And that's kind of where I try to stay in this, right? Without trying to go too far about, because what did the set aside prayer, and it's no longer about what I knew with my experiences. It's what I'm experiencing this time around. Thanks.
Kim?
Good morning, never too early. My name is Kim. I'm a grateful recovered alcoholic. It's good to see everybody. From 28 to 29, I have it marked in my book, in the doctor's opinion, as my aha moment. That aha moment, it really took me to my knees, saying, holy shit, I am an alcoholic, I am an addict, and the only way I could feel normal was taking that few drinks and popping them pills. I knew when it was time to get off work. I knew it was time to stop at the liquor store. My body would already have that timer set. And I would at the end of the night, when I would, just put them in and they'd just keep going and keep going, then I'd run out, I would stop and I would say, why do I have to do this to feel normal? I don't understand me. And when I first came into the rooms in 2021, it was shortly, like a week or two after, that this whole reading was my aha moment. And, you know, I'm so thankful for that. And that psychic change didn't happen for me until probably about almost a year later. I had no idea, you know, the things that I would react to. I made that psychic change a year later. So the things that, you know, you made me mad, so I'm going to drink at you, but I didn't have to do that anymore. So this is a huge, huge piece of my aha moment. And I always take myself back and remember what it felt like, you know, to say, oh my God, this is who I am. And there's others like me. So thank you for letting me share.
Yes, I was pretty sure Kim was going to be last. And today we only have one person who said they're going to just bogart in spite of me saying Kim was going to be last. I guess we're making some progress. Come on, Nina.
Nina was in line and she had kind of dropped out, Ralph.
Okay, let me take all that back. Nina, I profusely apologize to you. You were painting inside the line. I was going to hear from you anyway, but come on. Ronnie is,
Uncle Ronnie, I'm an alcoholic and my problem is Nina, I guess, and also Uncle Ralph. Thank you for coming to my defense, Uncle Ronnie. Yeah, I changed devices, so my hand went down. Good morning, Big Book. Good morning, Never Too Early, and I love you guys. You know, God meets me where I'm at, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. First off, we're in the doctor's opinion, and I don't know what anybody else's experience is, but doctors are arrogant. They are arrogant sons of bitches, as they should. If I was a doctor, if I've gone through all this time, you know, to become a PhD and whatever it is that I'm specializing in, you know, I would be arrogant too. I'm arrogant just because I'm an alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing. The fact that he's laying way to the fact that, okay, he's admitting complete defeat. And I love that. I love that's here. Now, in this paragraph, I had to say something because, elusive, hard to pin down, hard to understand. Is it wrong for me to want to feel okay? I'm asking myself that. Is it wrong for me to want to feel okay? Not just because I'm an alcoholic, but I want to feel good. And I can't figure out what it is why I can't feel good. You know what I mean? Oh, when I take a sip of this, it gets a little better, it gets a little easier. So the only thing, I love you, Gary. Gary said the only time people get sober is when he was in those treatment facilities. Now, that was the only time you could abstain. Let me leave it on me. That was the only time I could abstain, because that's not sober. That was the only time I could step away from the drink is when I was locked up in the hospital. Now, I just got out of the hospital. I had a surgery a month ago. I had for a hernia, and it went bad. They twisted me up, but they ended up going back in a month later. But all the time in between there, I kept saying, something ain't right. Something's not right. I couldn't get that sense of ease and comfort. Hell, I couldn't eat. Something wasn't right. And that's that same thing that I have. On the inside, something ain't right. So I'm here to appeal to the point where I'm grateful that the doctor threw his hands up and said, you know, I can't help y'all. I can't help you. But I'm grateful that we're where we are now, and that gets me to understand, first off, that, you know, if I don't feel good, where do I go? I go to a doctor. If the doctor say he can't help me, then what is it that I need to do? What is it that I need to do? So thank you, I'm sure.
So Dr. Silkworth, a medical doctor, an MD, in fact, as opposed to a PhD, which we happen to have some of them on our platform right now, but an MD One of the reasons why that is so important is because they treat the body. And so they usually, it's physical ailments we're talking about. And so that is something we talked about last week. So for everybody, the doctor's opinion, just the fact that the doctor is rendering his opinion tells us, number one, Ralph, there's something physically ailing you. New information. New information when I came to recovery that there's something physically wrong with me. You know, as we proceed through this, and we'll start talking about some of the other, even in the doctor's opinion, we're going to touch on some of the other aspects of what I suffer from. And the doctor in here is kind of talking about the mental obsession, but right now we're really focusing on there's something physically different about me and something physically, for lack of a better term, wrong with me that's different than other people. Didn't know that. And so what he says is, so now he's expanded on what he's been talking about, and now he's getting into the meat and potatoes. Okay, Ralph, this is what ails you, men and women. Now, he did not say alcoholic men and women. He said men and women drink essentially for the effect produced by alcohol. If you ever see some of these damn movies, man, they be hitting it so hard. If you ever watch Mad Men, that's all they do. They just be drinking. And some of the, get off work. I mean, in the office, go in the desk, pull out, and it's always the glamorous things, not the down and dirty, but in the office, in a law firm or something, they go behind and step behind the desk and pull out brandy snifters, and then you gotta click when you drink, cheers, salute, all that. But just men and women drink essentially for the effect. And they're not drinking. You don't see people when they drinking lemonade or Arnold Palmer's saying cheers, salute. When people drink alcohol, that's a different level. This is, we drinking not to quench thirst. We drinking to get a buzz, right? And most people drink to get a buzz. Most people that drink alcohol, that's why they drink, to get a buzz. They like the effect produced. Here's where the doctor, I think I have to read it. I don't want to be too out there. I'm going to break it down. I have to read this part inferentially, meaning I have to infer some stuff from the reading. It's not straight out there, but this is what I mean. He says, to them, their alcoholic life seems the only normal one. So now the doctor, inside of the paragraph, did a slight left turn and says, now I'm going to talk about you alcoholic drinkers. Before I was just talking about men and women drink, but now I'm talking to alcoholics, because now he said this, they're alcohol. Oh, okay, so you're talking to this subset. You're talking to the people that look like me. Okay, now you done took a turn on us, and you talking not to the normal drinkers. He says, so I have to go back even to that period, the sentence right before that. He says, now he's letting me know he's not just talking. And I have for years been looking at that and said, he's saying that about everybody. But no, he's talking to his constituency, the people this book is written for. He talking to the people who, in that paragraph before, he said, if you have ever experienced the phenomenon of craving, then you are one of these allergic types. He talking to them people. He talking to me. And like Amanda said, I would encourage anybody, put themselves in here and see if he talking to you in this. He ain't talking to my mama when she read this paragraph. Once she get past the first sentence, the rest of that don't have nothing to do with her. He's talking to Ralph. So he says, the sensation for people like me is so elusive that while they admit it is injurious, In fact, he's talking to heavy drinkers, but that's them people that just be drinking because, you know, a lot of people drink hard like us, but they don't have the physical feature. And that's what's going to come in the next page. That's really going to differentiate us. You know, he says the sensation is so elusive. Really? What are you trying to say? I like, it's a lot of stuff I like. You know, it's a lot of stuff I take pleasure in. And so sometimes he say the sensation is so elusive that while they admit it's injurious, after time, they can't tell the truth from the false. This sensation I get from drinking and using, I don't get it nowhere else. And so after a time, even though it keeps me, I admit it's, but I can't tell the truth from the false. You know, I admit it's a little injurious, but the alcoholic life that seems normal for me, I can't tell. Well, wait a minute. You miss work again on Friday because you get paid on Thursday. But I thought it was Thursday payday. Thursday payday. It ain't that I done started getting loaded. It ain't that I started getting loaded. It's that you paid me on Thursday. Why? You setting that trap for yourself. You got that coming. They admit it's injurious, but after a time, they can't differentiate the truth from the false. Their alcoholic life seems the only normal one. I would come home I get paid Thursday, I make it home Sunday. At first, they kind of like tweak me a little. Then it got to the point where my wife should have been trained to know I'll be home Sunday. Seemed like a normal life. It wasn't until I was sober that really hit me, the extent of that. A lot of us don't take it to that extreme, but it's you know, coming home after midnight, that's regular. So especially on payday, 2 a.m, that's regular. Why y'all tripping? What? I make just my, you know, I admit it's injurious, but and so the sensation that I get, this sense that I get from nothing else, you know, sex is cool, sex is the bomb, that sensation is cool, but it'll turn out that I ain't even gonna think of that unless I gotta be high first. I gotta be loaded first. I gotta be drinking. That sensation is so elusive, you know, that I don't get it nowhere else. I don't get it working out. I like working out. I don't get it with sex. Love sex. Don't get it, you know, somebody, whatever might get down, I don't get it no other place. So my alcoholic life seems the only normal one. When I get in it, when I get in that life, it seems normal to walk the streets at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It seems normal to not come home on payday. It seems normal to make a run to the store that lasts and you come back the next day, or it lasts 4 or 5 hours. You know, it seems normal to not have a telephone no more. This is in the 80s I'm talking about, you guys. It's really abnormal now with cell phones, but in the 80s, no telephone. It seems normal to be up in a spot with no electricity. It seemed normal. You know, last week we talked about having lost their reliance on things human, that kind of stuff. You know, so they are restless, irritable, and discontented. When you get into this book, we adopt so much of what is said, sometimes because it can't be said better. Other times we adopt it because we know this book and we use it and the rest. But for me, there are times when you want to make this thing real for me. You know, restless, irritable, and discontent is a good description, but it works for many people. I liked it when Jill came in and she said, you know, when I'm on, you know, sometimes when I'm not under the influence and I'm not in remorse, I feel raw. You know, sometimes I got to take the restless, irritable, and discontent. Don't see. Sometimes, you know, for me, restless, irritable, and discontent. I know, new friends, you haven't used that in your vocabulary a lot. It's in our vernacular, so now you'll adopt it. But what does that really look like? Well, it looks to me like I done ran out of money So I'm remorseful. I done spent everything. So Monday, Tuesday, I'm cool on not drinking. Really? Yeah, I could be cool for a minute. It don't mean I'm always 24/7, but come Tuesday or Wednesday, I get antsy. I gotta go to the car and to the ashtray. I gotta unroll roaches. I gotta, go to my box and go through the stems and the seed. I gotta go get that last corner. I'm just antsy. I gotta take the edge off. That's what a lot of, it's just, nah, I ain't, take that edge off. I got to improve. So whatever it is, that feeling that comes when, it's time. I'm sitting in the house, the baby crying on my nerves. No, they ain't nothing going on. Let me just make a run. Let me go over here and see what they doing. I can't sit still. Restless, irritable, and discontent. It's been a little too long. I got to take the edge off. Unless I can get that sense, that thought, the idea of ease and comfort, what comes at once by taking a few drinks. Well, sometimes, you can't separate if it's the sense of or if it's the reality of. Okay, that works for a time and then it wears off. But I get the sense of, he calls it ease and comfort. I call, okay, I'm cool now. Okay, it's smooth out. Okay, I got one in. Okay, I can operate now. Okay, I can breathe. Okay, that comes at once. For me, it comes at once as soon as I cop. I don't even have to put it in me. But this is what happens. Here's why it is that I suffer what I suffer from. I'm getting ready to get on the merry-go-round. I don't know it. So I did this thing in me, and I drink because I like the effect. And now I've been doing it so much that the effect is taking over me, and I live for the effect. And when I ain't under the effect, when I used to say, I get high so much, I stagger when I'm sober. I used to try to come up with clever little shit like that, but there was a lot of truth to that. I like to be in that state more than I like to be in the state of abstinence. I like to be in that state. So when I'm in this other, so I'm constantly trying to get there. And so now I'm not under the influence. I'm antsy, I'm restless, I'm easily pissed off, ain't nothing working. So now I go and I somebody calls me or I go cop. Now I get this sense of ease and comfort because it's okay. Because I see other people doing this all the time. I'm looking around me. As soon as I walk in here to happy hour, they happy. And they laughing and they chattering and they drinking. They gonna go home at 8 o'clock like they said. And so I'm up in there with them too. I see them taking their drinks. I'm gonna take I go with my co-workers from work. We all go in, and immediately upon going in the Black Angus or in the Red, I went to Black Angus after work when I worked in Alhambra, and I go up in there, and immediately up in there, I get this sense of ease and comfort right when we sitting down and starting to order. Now, soon as we order, I see others taking them, but after I take mine, I succumb to the desire. After I hit my first gin gimlet, it's on. I don't know it. Because now this phenomenon of craving develops. It comes to 8 o'clock. Paul O'Brien said, I'm going home, because at the beginning of the evening, he said, I got to be home. The baby's at home. My old lady's at home. I had a new baby, too. And I said, I'm going home at 8 o'clock, too. But when 8 o'clock came and the waitress said, last call for happy hour, I didn't know I had succumbed to the desire and that the phenomenon of craving had developed. I didn't know that I was going to be getting thirsty when I drank, when the rest of them was getting tipsy. I was getting thirsty. And I said, bring me 9 gin gimlets. What? Huh? And I thought I just changed my mind. And, I didn't know that I was in this phenomenon of craving that had developed. Then I go through the well-known stages of a spree. I'm at the front end. I'm fat. I got money. Ralph's well-known stages of a spree. I got money. I'm fat. I'm spending. I'm treating. I'm leaving because I'm the triple life guy. I'm leaving the regular people. I'm going and getting a motel. Now I'm really getting down because this is the fun part of the evening. The other part was the preliminaries. Now my well-known stages of my spree, we in the motel now, and now I'm really on one. And now this is Thursday night or Friday. We up in the Saturday. Now Sunday, I'm emerging remorseful. What the hell happened to you? 36 cents in my pocket on Sunday. What the hell? Wanting to shoot the bird. What happened to you? The well-known stages of a spree. And check this out. It's repeated over and over and over. Is it repeated for me over and over and over? Not because the doctor said. The doctor ain't even describing himself, in fact. He's just observing. He's just observing. So some of what the doctor say, he guessing it. This sensation is so elusive. That's what it looked like. And doctor, you spot on. You know, he just observing. But for me, he nailed me. It's repeated over and over. I start because I'm trying to put out this fire of raw nerves that Gio talked about. This, this is, I can't do this. This is dull. This is, I'm antsy. I got to take the edge off. So I start with that. I start with the spread. Then I start it off. I get on the merry-go-round. I put one in me. I order that first gin gimlet. Or when I'm out and I'm being nice, I start ordering some. If I'm really out and I'm trying to be dating, I'm gonna do some strawberry daiquiris or something. Don't laugh at me. Some of you hard whiskey, and then I'm doing that, and I got the herb. Then I'm leaving, and I'm blowing when I leave them because now I'm going and I'm a cop some blow. This is obviously the 70s, and then I'm talking pre-smoke. I'm talking pre when I was all the way down. I'm just talking when I was in the light. And they're not going the well-known stages, the well-known stages. Cop, fun and games, laughing, halfway through, spending money, coming down. What the hell is wrong with you? You did it again. I'm not doing that shit again. I'm not the one that's quitting. See, the doctor says that remorseful with a resolution never to drink again. That's many of you guys. So when you read this, read for yourself. Because I never had a firm resolution never to drink again, but many people did. But I had a firm resolution not to get broke like that, not to spend all my money again, not to suffer these consequences again, not to be a fool again, not to be that stupid again, I had those resolutions. And I repeated it over and over and over and over and over. Damn, we doomed. Glimmer of hope. This is what we aiming for. This is not what we gonna get in the doctor's opinion, but he's telling us what we're aiming for while we're here. If I can experience a psychic change, then there is hope for my recovery. Rita?
On the other hand, as strange as this may seem to those who do not understand, once a psychic change has occurred, the very same person who seemed doomed, who had so many problems, he despaired of even solving them, suddenly finds himself easily able to control his desire for alcohol, the only effort necessary being that required to follow a few simple rules.
Ms. Peaches?
Wow, this right here when I got to this part of the book with my sponsor, this was the glimmer of hope for me, because after being in the streets for 9 years, after being, back and forth in the jail, after being, tormented, self-imposed crisis, drinking and using for so long, and trying to figure out, what the hell is wrong with me? And getting an opportunity to have a glimmer of hope. That you mean there's actually something different? That there's going to be a change in my life? That there is, that I don't have to live this way anymore? That there is something else to see besides this, that I've been through all this time? Are you kidding me? Where do I sign up? And then being in treatment for so long, and then, oh my God. Okay, so, oh my God, and then, my face fell a little bit because I gotta follow a few simple rules. And you telling me I gotta listen to somebody else? No, but I was willing. They just told me something. Listen. Just listen, damn it. Open your ears, open your mind, open your heart, and listen. It's going to be a long, bumpy ride, newcomer. It's going to be an interesting new experience, newcomer. But just listen. It's going to be amazing, newcomer. Let's go, baby. Thanks.
Thank you, Peaches, for not trying to get and tell us how does psychic change happen, and just staying with this paragraph talking about generally what is required and what is promised. Teresa?
Good morning. I got more questions than I have statements. I do. I love going through the book so I can have a new experience. Every time I'm in here, I'll be reading it like I ain't never read this shit before. Because I'll be like, what's happening right now? I have a lot more questions. And I had sent you the message, right? Do you know that's why I sent you that question, Ralph? Because for the first time, I was like, men and women drink. That means everybody, not just the alcoholics. So that really stood out to me. I was like, oh, shit. All these years, I thought alcoholics only drink for that. And I'm like, that's not true. Okay, so that was really powerful. And then what I started seeing, and it's even bringing me into this, is from the beginning, the abnormality is the relationship that I have with this substance. Not only what I continue to seek, like I do shit overboard. Everybody else just have a drink to relax. What do? I want to fucking relax every day, all day, 24 hours a day. What the hell? I take everything to the extreme. And so much so that some shift has to happen. Well, I was just seeing that look, something drastic must take place considering what I just read. What I'm coming to understand and what my experience is now is what has happened. You see, yes, as a newcomer, I don't even remember reading this and being so deeply profound. I just remember going, I don't know, y'all seem excited about that paragraph. I just want to not kill myself right now or somebody else. But through the years, I'm realizing even today, I try to look at it, where am I today? Today, I'm like, this still has merit. I can do it in other areas, in other addictions, things that that I feel good about. It doesn't help me with the phenomenon, in my body, but some shift has to take place. And if a drastic shift, something don't happen to me, I'm doomed. I'm doomed. I have very little hope. That still applies in 34 years, y'all. I don't get this I don't get struck with this shit once. That's why they say this is not an intellectual exercise. Self-knowledge serves me nothing. I don't know. I have more questions. I was like, wow, this will always apply. If not, I'm gonna desire. I don't know. This can easily come back. Follow some simple rules. I still have to. And they're simple, but don't seem like it. So I was like, I got more questions. I think this will continue to apply over and over and over again. And it has to occur. And I don't think that's what my question. Does it only occur once? Or is it a continual occurrence? Is it different degrees of occurrences? That's what was the questions that came up for me. And in order to solve any of my problems, that shift has to take place. So that's where I'm at with that. Thank you.
Daryl?
Ralph, you didn't leave much on the bone, man. Shit. But this paragraph, these two paragraphs answered every question I had about what it describes the trajectory of my life as I had been living it for some years. It described it to a T. First of all, Teresa, you just talked about men. I had that same, what the fuck? What men and women the hell are they talking about? They said, Daryl, you need to turn these statements into question. Am I one of the men and men, one of the men that drink essentially? So you have to understand these little words that the big book is so politically correct. He said, man, I drank to get my head bad. I drank to do, I wanted it to do what it do. But then but I don't want to just, Ralph, you didn't leave much. But what I needed to, it says here, after they succumb to the desire again. Daryl, is that you? Did you succumb? How many times and did the phenomenon of craving develop? Answered so many questions to lead me on the well-known stages. The key word in that whole sentence is well-known. It means that I had been there and done that shit before to emerge remorseful with a firm resolution. See, Ralph said he wasn't one. Baby, I would come home crying. Baby, my son would grab hold. My son was a little guy, 3-4 years old. Daryl would say, Daddy, don't leave. I ain't going nowhere. Man, I would get that antsy, that restless, irritable. I would get that shit. And it would start just like you said. You didn't leave much. I'd go out to the ashtray in the car, roll me up 2 or 3 roaches. But that didn't feel it. And and it says, this is repeated over and over. Daryl, this shit didn't happen to you just once. This shit didn't happen to you just twice. I'm telling you. But then it says, there's real little hope. My sponsor said, Daryl, if any of this pertains to you, this says there's real little hope for it. He says, you fucked, bro. I'm sorry. I know it's dignitaries in the room. I didn't mean to cuss like that, man. But this is what he said. He says, you fucked. But then he followed that up. He said, on the other hand. And this reminds me of Leon Strange. He would talk about this guy that wouldn't come across Broadway or wherever the hell he said this guy would. Once this psychic change has been, that very same person that seemed fucked. I'm sorry, it says doomed here. The very same person who had so many problems. These are not statements, these are questions, Daryl. Finds himself easily able to control his desire. You just got to follow a few simple rules. Baby, the penitentiary taught me how to follow some rules. Penitentiary taught me how to program. Penitentiary taught me how to stand in line to do what I'm told. I didn't have that problem when I got here. Plus, I had that tailor-made ass whooping that was following me. Ralph says it all the time. I was not running towards the light. I was running from the fire, man. This shit it answered every question. So since I'm the reader, I didn't want to double dip, but I asked my counselor, can I share? He said, yes, you can, just raise.
We out too, Daryl. We are out. Thank you, sir. The first lady's hand I see will read next week.